Hello, welcome to another episode of the Showboys podcast. My name is Mike, and I am joined with my good friends Amy and Jordan. How you guys doing tonight?
Good,
Great.
good. How are you?
Doing well. We even spotted a wild Neil, which is
Yeah.
rare, but you witnessed it right here in the first few seconds. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, hanging out with me, guys. Chad hates Stranger Things because he's weird or something.
He hates
Um,
it
no, I don't know if he hates it, but I'm gonna say
because
he hates it. Clicks. We need to get those clicks. Um, and
HeroClix? I'm just kidding.
yeah, I have a bag back here. I keep trying to give them to you.
Yeah.
Um,
HeroClix is drugs, in case anyone's wondering.
yeah. It's
I'm like, there he is.
hello, Neil.
What's going on,
I
Neil?
get so
Um,
confused.
Yes, and Nick is recovering from an early week work travel uh, adventure. So
Oh, neat.
I've Amy and Jordan here. I wouldn't rather be with anyone else. Two great friends, awesome people, and also big fans of Stranger Things. And Stranger Things season 4, part 2. They got to get this whole like part thing down because it's like really does not roll off the tongue when you're talking about stuff like this. But yeah, season
Yeah,
4,
the
part 2 came
strangest
out.
thing of the season is how it's constructed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Came out a couple weeks ago.
Fine.
We finally got around to watching it to react to these final 2 episodes, episodes 8 and 9. There's a lot to react to, a lot to go over, a lot to cope with each other about, and then we'll get into doing some theorizing of what we might come to see in season 5, the 5th and final season. Um, but before we do that, got to shout out our top tier patrons, Kim being used to page. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. It means the world to us. All of our other lovely patrons, you guys rule. We are so glad and thankful that you are so generous to donate to us monthly. It means the world to us. If you're interested, head over to Showboy or patreon.com/Showboys podcast. Check it out. Sign up if you feel like it. That'd be awesome. If not, we're just glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe and follow us wherever you're watching from. And make sure you comment along. We have an interactive show and we like to talk to you guys. So talk with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess we'll just do like a general reaction to these 2 episodes. We'll start with Amy. Like, how did you like episodes 8 and 9 as a whole?
As a whole, there were definitely some stories that I cared about more than others. No offense to Hop, but it was one of those things where I'm like, yeah. Can we get back to the other thing?
Right.
But as a whole, I mean, I loved so much of this season, all of the like horror movie references. It was, I mean, I sincerely enjoyed this and felt things from it.
Yeah, I think. Hi, Rachel. Thanks for stopping by. I think you're the one that pointed out in our season 4, part 1 episode that Freddy himself cameos in the season.
Yeah,
Who plays Creel? What's Victor? Victor Creel?
I think so.
Um,
Victor sounds
yeah.
like a creepy name.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Victor.
Victor. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are a lot of Easter eggs and like callbacks to things. It was super cool to see. Jordan, what did you think?
I liked it. There was, this season was a giant, Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and it's exciting. And Nancy was obviously a callback to Nightmare on Elm Street from season 1, whether it be the outfit she had on and just her name, and it's cool to see that they took that and really just that was a core part of the original, and it's leading up to the big bad. I love it. I mean, Eddie, there's a lot of great things. A lot of great things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is Neil still dealing with his rat problem? We gotta get down to the bottom of this.
Are you still dealing with your rat problem? I haven't seen him play Elden Ring in a long time. I think he needed to take
like
a
getting killed
little.
by a rat-a-tat in Elden Ring, huh?
He had to take a little hiatus from that game.
The worst. That would be the worst. Yeah, and Amy also informed us last Stranger Things episode that Neil teaches Erica.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is her actual teacher in school.
Yeah, he was her
She's crazy
9th grade biology teacher, and she was gone for half the year filming
that
9th
season.
grade?
Yeah.
Erica was in 9th grade?
Yeah, she's a freshman.
Wow. Okay.
Dang, dude. Yeah. How random is that?
So she's like 10.
Actually, hey, look at this. Who we got here? Erica.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Did she know that she's a little one of these like pop figures?
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
By the way, I have these
hardly
back
ever
here,
talk
and I
about
was totally planning on doing a giveaway when season 4 came out, and I forgot that I had them until like 5 minutes before we went live, and I was like looking around. I was like, "Oh crap! I have these 3 Stranger Things Funko Pops. We should try to give them away." So, yeah, I don't know. Anyone out there watching live, convince me, and maybe I'll give you one. We have the really cool, colorful Demigorgon, Target exclusive.
It's like a flower.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I actually really want that one. I hope no one convinces me to give these away. We have Erica from season 4 or season 3. I mean, and then of course, rest in peace, Bob, in his
Robert.
throat.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Still
me a
my
good
favorite
reason.
character in the show. I know we're not going to talk about Bob much tonight, obviously, because it's still my favorite character in the show.
Oh yeah, Bob was great. Convince me, give me a good reason, and maybe I'll give you one. So, yeah, I think these 2 episodes, much like all of season 4, I thought were pretty strong. Again, you get a little concerned when you see the run times before watching. You're like, okay, we got another hour 20, hour 30, and then 2.5 hour episode length. But in watching them, it didn't really feel like they were that long. I thought
no.
I don't feel like there were many wasted scenes, not much wasted time in any of the episodes in season 4, which is surprising when you see episode lengths like we saw this season. But yeah, great ending. Honestly, I thought maybe more people would die. I have a little gripe about a certain thing that happened. But I also am coming off of binging Game of Thrones where everyone
You've been jaded
dies.
by Game of Thrones.
Yeah, everyone dies.
No
so now
one
I
is safe.
Exactly. Any TV show I watch now, I'm just like, okay, everyone's gonna die.
Yeah,
Anyone
everyone
I
has
like is
sex
gonna
and
die.
dies in Game of Thrones. It's like the 2 things that everyone does.
Yep.
Because
That's it.
Exactly.
not
Yeah.
all of them fight, but they all have sex.
Very true. That is very true. But yeah, I thought as a whole, season 4, strongest season of the series so far. Like I said in the first episode, I wasn't that excited to get into season 4, and once I watched the first episode, I was hooked, and I was like, okay, I cannot stop watching this. And now I'm even more excited for season 5, but we have to wait until 2024. So yeah, we can talk about that later. We don't want to start on a big buzzkill, but we are actually.
You know what? No, we are.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. I actually watched this entire season, volume 1 and volume 2, thinking it was actually the last season. So when it ended, I stood up and I'm just like, what the I was like, are you kidding me? And and Kelly was like, yeah, there's another season. I'm like, since when? And I guess they announced it like hours or something before the volume 2 came out. I don't know. Either way, I had no clue. And I was super pissed at the ending. And I was, was ready to throw something, like the controller or the cat across the room. Something was gonna get thrown.
Joe says, just remember, still collects Funkos and has Pokemon swag to give you. That's a pretty good reason. So far, that's a top reason. Rachel says, you do say in every episode that everyone's support means the world to you. I think a giveaway would prove that. I mean, that's a very valid point.
Guilt.
That is. Oh yeah, DM me, Mike. I will send you pictures.
I was gonna say, some people are like, convince you. What do we have to do to convince you? And then they're like,
Yeah.
well, what do we got to do to convince you?
Leave it to BioSid. Nick says, real light on the deaths. Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah,
and we'll talk more.
Actually, we
about
probably
that.
had the same gripe, Mike. I think about it.
Yeah, we probably did. We're pretty much the same person.
Yeah.
Joe wants a CC on those pictures. I'm not sure you do.
You might want BCC.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought you said something else.
All right, let's continue.
Nick says, same Jordan, just not to the end. I thought that was the end, or I thought that until the end of season 4, part 1.
At least you got part 1. You know, I went the whole way, man. I went the whole way.
The fifth season thing was news before season 4 started. The only reason I remember is because I went into this knowing this wasn't the last season. But I also am just better than you. So
I've been super busy and neglecting, and it's
but yeah, we are actually going to start on a dour note, actually, and we're gonna have a little in memoriam for those who fell here in the end of season 4, and we have episode 8. Were either of you sad that Dr. Brenner died in episode 8?
No.
Were you happy? I was a little happy.
I wasn't happy, but I was like, okay, there's one of the big 5 gone.
Who's something that had to happen for like 11's story to.
Who else is in your big 5?
Well, supposedly there's 5 deaths that were going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you thought, Amy, you thought Brenner had to die for 11 to progress. Nick and I theorized that Brenner was going to have a pivotal role in the grand scheme of the Upside Down. So I was a little shocked that he died. I was happy he died because he turned out to be a real big scumbag.
I watched. Well, I was literally just watching this before we started this, and Vecna had said Brenner was just a man who wanted to who coveted powerful beings to make himself feel better. So he was like a nobody.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, he died 3 sniper shots. Took a bit to get there, but it got there. Did either of you guys feel bad about Jason's death? The basketball player who
Oh no, fuck that guy.
Yeah, he was I actually kind of wanted him to die maybe in a different way. I was hoping he would come to see the whole there is something really strange happening here, and it's not just you think it's just some weird cult thing going on. There's these people are innocent and this is what's happening.
Yeah, it would have been nice for him to have seen that he had been wrong the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, it does suck that he kind of. Yeah, exactly. He was never proven wrong. He died thinking that he was doing the right thing, and that was awful. That whole scene was terrible with Lucas, and very valiant of Lucas, by the way, to stick true and let the plan unfold. I got worried for Lucas there because I read, I'd seen in a headline that there were going to be 5 deaths or 4 deaths or something crazy. But that was for season 5, which I didn't realize. I thought that was going to be the end of
Was it for season
4.
5, or did they just kind of push it just to...
I want to say it's for season 5. because I was like, okay, only Brenner died in episode 8, and then like that whole thing happened to Max, and I was like, okay, there's one. I'm like, Lucas is about to get murdered by Jason. There's 2. What's gonna happen? Steve has to die probably, right? I mean, they did that whole foreshadowing with him and Robin, like, oh, this one's probably not gonna end, or this one's probably not gonna go well for us this time, or something.
He's gonna be wrapped up in too much drama. It's gonna be too easy to write a love story for him.
Yeah.
I feel like he might be this show's Daryl, though, from Walking Dead. He's just kind of like the person if you kill off, it's just people will burn down the studio.
Yeah.
I believe
that. So by the end of episode 9, I'm like, oh, we only had 3 deaths. Okay. But then again, coming off Game of Thrones, I expect everyone to die now. Yeah, didn't feel bad about Jason. Good riddance. Guy, the actor, amazing at playing a very hateable character. Like, he really made me hate that guy. Kudos. But I think the most painful, obviously, the most painful death, maybe one of the most painful scenes of the show. Eddie Munson. Rest in peace, my friend. Dying in Dustin's arms. What a scene. What a character. What do you guys think about that?
Do you not like him? Go ahead.
As soon as he said never change Dustin Henderson, I'm like, well, fuck. He's dying. That's it. You just signed your own damn death certificate.
Yes. What do you think, Jordan?
He, you have to, as you meet characters in each season, you're like, oh, I love this guy. Then you say to yourself, oh, he's probably going to die. Right? That's like you have Bob, you have the Russian scientist from season 4 or season 3, and then you have Eddie this time. There's kind of a reoccurring theme where they're like, hey, we're going to introduce some new character that's better than all the characters you already know, and then rip them away with your heart. And they keep doing it. So whoever you like next season is introduced, they might as well be wearing a red shirt.
Yeah.
Because they're done.
They finished his character arc.
They did.
They did. He didn't run.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, technically he did run from the bats though, so it's kind of funny. But yes, Eddie's death scene it wasn't so iconic. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, like you said, Jordan, probably my favorite character of this season. By the second episode, I'm like, wow, they're making this guy way too likable. He's definitely gonna die.
Right.
Well, I think, like I said before, that was based off of one of the West Memphis 3, so they wanted to show that everybody's opinion of them were based on these few things that they knew, which was that he was into metal music and he played Dungeons and Dragons, so that was all they needed to know, and so they really wanted to make him a likable character because everybody who has met the guys from the West Memphis 3 love their lovable guys. They just happen to like metal music and Dungeons and Dragons.
Which, playing off of that, Mike, the West Memphis 3, for any metalheads listening, Zayo has a song called Free the Three, and I believe that was about the West Memphis 3. So.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like it probably would. For anyone listening who's not familiar with the West Memphis 3, would you mind elaborating on that, Amy?
Oh, sure. There was, I'm not sure what year it was, but there was 3 children who were found murdered in the woods in Memphis. And the police decided right off the bat that it was these 3 boys who were into metal music. They were into Dungeons and Dragons. They were kind of like counterculture to everybody. Right, that's exactly what they did, though. And they refused to entertain any other evidence. I know one of the stepfathers of one of the little boys they found actual evidence that he was there and one of his friends, and they completely ignored it. It didn't fit their narrative, and those boys were incarcerated for 18 years. And even when they let them out, they still had what's the word I want? They did an Alford plea, which basically said, we're not guilty, but you have enough evidence that we think we'll be convicted if we go to trial again. But their lives were taken away because they, nobody knew who they were.
Yeah.
They knew these few things.
And when I said, let anyone know, I was really just talking about me. I had no idea who West Memphis 3 was, so thanks for clearing that up for me.
You know who Zayo is, though, right?
Yeah, for anyone watching who doesn't know who Zayo is, Jordan, would you mind?
Yeah, I was gonna make a joke too.
The rest of this podcast is just us explaining different things.
So, for those of you out there who have never seen Stranger Things, would you guys share?
And those of you who don't know what Zayo means,
hey, I'm not the only one. Bio says, "Wow, I didn't know any of this." And Rachel says it was a mystery to me too.
Cool.
See, you're out there educating the people, Amy and Jordan. Thank you for that. But yeah, that those were the only deaths we had. We had a close call. I mean, technically, she did die for a minute, and that was Max. And you know what? No, well, do we want to get into that now, or do we want to save that? Because that's my gripe.
That's my gripe as well. Oh God, here we go.
Right. Well, let's just get into it now then.
Okay.
Why? Why did all of a sudden now, out of nowhere, with no indication or hint or anything of 11 having any sort of restorative powers, is she able to resurrect Max through the power of friendship?
I mean, if she's a wizard, right, she might have some clerical spells, whatever. She can heal, she can resurrect, probably fly soon enough. I don't know. Max should be dead. I really think that when you have a scene like that, snap, snippity snap, it's everyone's like, oh, it's happening, right? Like you have that moment. Now you're kind of like, she'll be fine. She's coming back. Oh, she's not fine, obviously. She's pretty mangled up and brain dead.
She's fine.
But, it's coming back to life. There's obviously a reason she's coming back to life. There'll probably be a time jump and everything. And I don't know. I feel like it just cheapens. It cheapens the scene a little bit, having her still be alive.
So I was under the impression that Vecna, in the first half of the season, there was some instance where he wound time back. And I was under the impression that that's what 11 was doing, was winding the time back. But the problem was Vecna had already consumed her mind, and that's why it was empty. Like, she wound the time back for her body to not be gone, but her mind had already been taken by Vecna because he did his whole little hoodoo on her. That's what I thought. That's what I thought it was, because I also thought that was really, really bizarre for her to just be able to do that. So
yeah,
that was me searching for a reason.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Can you imagine getting all your limbs snapped and then she starts healing you and your arm goes back into place? She's like, oh God.
Well, I either thought she was gonna die or she was gonna be paralyzed and blind, and that was gonna be another thing to overcome in season 5. Was her coming to terms with what happened. But
yeah,
that whole scene of her coming back to life just made me think of Batman, and he has this code where he won't kill anyone, but he definitely brutally mangles all of the criminals he fights, where they probably wish that he would just kill them.
And security guards who are just trying to make an honest living.
Yeah. So I was just like, poor Max. She probably just wishes 11 would have just let it end there.
Yeah.
As every bone in her body is just snapped in half.
So made the joke ginger snap. I was like, so yeah.
Oh no, he went there. That was actually a good one though. But yeah, I was a little, I don't know, I was a little miffed at that, I guess. We have Biosub saying Max is now passed onto the other side and got brought back. She may have powers now too. Ooh, that is interesting. Nick says force healing, maybe. He also said that Amy's onto something with the rewind time thing. Rachel says, Biosiv, is this a prediction for season 5? A Max plus L team up or something equally awesome? And then Biosiv replies, yes, as Amy said, Maxine is blind and paralyzed, but now she has powers and has to work with L to take down one.
Professor X.
I have a feeling they're gonna end up going into one's mind, and they're gonna find Max there, and Max is gonna do some like badass shit and be like, "Look, girl, I'm already dead. I'm gonna hold him off. You do your thing," and then Max will.
She's just poking Vecna's brain with her compound fractures.
Yeah, she's got bone shards.
Yeah.
That is actually kind of funny. There wasn't actually any compound fractures, were there? There was no.
Nothing broke the surface that I saw.
Through, yeah.
Got some tough skin.
It's precision.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was a big thing that kind of annoyed me with this season. One thing that I've been thinking about. Remember the whole story arc where was it in season 2 or 3? Where 11 went to Chicago or something, and with the other numbered kids who had powers.
Oh
and then
there's the one girl for sure, yeah.
And then they just never ever came back into relevancy again.
She actually reminded me of Sombra from Overwatch.
She escaped. That girl escaped.
She did.
Yeah. And I guess everybody else got killed.
But
you might be right.
Do you think they'll ever bring that back? Or it just seems like such a big point in the story, right? To discover more people like 11. I mean, obviously 1 is an evil version, but just to introduce a character like that, and then
I would say now that you have a very public world changing, something's changing the ecosystem of the world and a place. It's obviously you can't hide it anymore, right? It's beyond the government keeping it a secret. That might kind of act as a beacon to bring, all these different gifted people back to one area because they know what it is or they're feeling drawn to it. Could be good and bad. Could bring whatever, but there's got to be some sort of. The world can't ignore what the hell happened, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I was really confused because I felt like everyone was fleeing at the end, which I'm like, well, yeah, because your town just split open, like a damn cantaloupe. But then I thought that they showed scenes in the town square where no cavern of death or crevice of death that had opened up. And then when they all walk out onto the field, boom, we're back with the
Yeah, when they show when they come in through the traffic point of view and you see the military directing traffic right in downtown there by the courthouse or whatever, the big crevices and cracks in the earth or whatever, not very noticeable, but you can see on the courthouse there's the black vines or arms or tentacles or whatever you want to call them, on the courthouse and stuff, which looked pretty cool, but definitely didn't look as catastrophic as that last scene when they're standing on the hill and it's just Hawkins is red and covered in smoke clouds and
the upside down is leaking through.
Yeah.
Yeah, they see just the whole town's covered in red, there's clouds everywhere, and they're like, "That damn Eddie, he's at it again."
Freaking Dungeons and Dragons, man! I can't believe it.
Damn it, Eddie.
Yeah. So now that we got that out of the way, I found 2 short summaries, one for episode 8, one for episode 9. I'll just read them.
Can I make a really quick complaint?
Yes.
Can we talk about that goddamn narc who was walking his dog? If that guy hadn't said shit when he was walking his dog when they were at the murder house, everything would have gone off just At least in theory.
Why can't I remember this?
So when
wait.
like Erica's sitting in the playground, like doing the Morse code or flashlight thing.
Yep.
And a narc walks by, walking his stupid little dog.
I also
and
love
he runs and tells
the
people,
dog's like, those damn kids.
Yeah. I also love how like the entire town just reports to Jason. the basketball player.
Oh my
like
God.
in the town hall meeting, like he just gets up and rallies the entire town, and the cops don't shut him down or anything. It's just that was kind of goofy, but
you're doing too much.
Yeah, that's true. That
they're like,
that
should we stop him?
Trucker
He's
hat
like,
wearing.
You know, the kid's got spirit. Let him fly.
You obviously weren't at the pep rally. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you're not feeling.
Did you hear his speech?
Yeah. Everyone's wearing like blonde toupees.
Oh man. All right. Yeah. So I'll just read the summary of episode 8. We can talk about anything that stuck out, anything that we kind of need to dig into, analyze or whatever. And then we can do the same thing for episode 9. And then just, I have a few questions written down. We can get into predictions and then answer the boys' stuff. But episode 8, what happened? Picking up where the massacre at Hawkins' lab left off, Vecna showed Nancy a horrific vision of Hawkins' future, then released her. Once he'd made his 4th kill, the final gate would be opened, and it would be, in essence, game over. So the Hawkins gang hatched a 4-phase plan that they hoped would make killing one as easy as, quote, slaying sleeping Dracula in his coffin. In the desert, before Owens could grant Eleven's request to return to Hawkins to protect her friends, Brenner intervened just as Sullivan and his troops, as well as Mike and company, arrived at the compound. By the time the smoke had cleared, Papa had been fatally shot, though you can never tell for sure with him. Finally, Team Hopper escaped from the Russian prison with high hopes that they'd be able to fly across the Iron Curtain in Yuri's chopper. Kantinka? I forget.
Kantinka.
Kantinka. Yeah, so that was episode 8 there. Anything stick out to you guys before I dig into anything off the bat?
Episode 8 just kind of seemed like a staging episode for like the meat of the second half, which was, episode 9. Obviously 11's like Brenner dying. Oh my gosh, can I say it felt super intense when he wanted her to forgive him and she wouldn't. I thought that was really, really neat because I thought she was going to, and then I was like, oh damn girl, get it, like heck yes.
And she like force pushes him up onto the tank, and they're having their little.
I thought she was gonna break him like Vecna did.
Yeah, same. Then he just did a little.
Brenner's like, he's like, she doesn't forgive him. When she won't forgive him, he's like, you bitch. That'd be amazing. That'd be an amazing sign off.
I thought that was crazy. I thought, I'm like, good for them for like sticking to that. Like, good for them.
Yeah, she's becoming a little hardened for sure, which is good. I would say that Aiden and I were actually just talking about this. Like, it's weird that they didn't keep that episode into multiple episodes. It didn't need to be as long as it was. I don't know what I think it actually probably would have even just stood better if like they ended it at the end of that, like just in sliced up episodes, and then the finale is like a 2.5 hour episode. Just that one drop. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm sorry. Did you think Brenner wanted to keep 11 just because he considered her family, or like what more could he have taught her? Like, I wanted to know what he was saying. He's like, you can't like run, you have to fly or something.
Yeah,
like,
no, I think she's gonna fly. I think she's gonna fly. I really do. I do.
I didn't know what that was about. Like, what hasn't she been taught?
Well, when Vecna was actually thrown into, the other dimension, he was free falling. He survived that fall somehow. I think that he knows how to maybe fly somehow, do something weird, maybe figure something out when he reached that dimension. I really think that there's going to be I think the powers are going to be elevated for the final fight. And I mean, I'm not talking like Dragon Ball Z style or anything like that, but it very well could be. I mean, who the hell knows anymore?
Yeah.
But I do think there's going to be a next level up, and probably the pulling Max back was part of that. But I don't. It's. I mean, honestly, if you watch any podcast review, they barely stay on this episode a whole lot and go straight to the meat and potatoes. And there's a reason for that. And I don't know. I think it could have been constructed a little bit better as far as release. I think having the 2.5 hour drop as an episode would have been probably the better way to do it. I'm not saying don't do a volume 2, but I guess in order to have a volume 2, you have to have multiple segments of that volume. So it's whatever. But
yeah. Joe, in reference to Jason at the pep rally and the town meeting, he rolled a 20 on his charisma check. And then
Dude
Rachel
could fire a gun, man. Jeez.
Yeah, no kidding.
God.
Rachel says, I read the whole relationship as a toxic parent situation where Papa is trying to convince Eleven that she'll never be anything without him. That is a very good point. Their whole relationship was super messed up. I mean, obviously a ton of manipulation, a ton of mental and emotional abuse to, keep Eleven as submissive to Papa as she was, which I think is what makes that scene that Amy was talking about so powerful when she finally takes her stand against him. Because I honestly, that whole thing up until she pushes him up onto the tank, I'm like, okay, she's just gonna submit again like she has in every other instance up to this point. And to Amy's point about his end game with what he had left to teach her, I was very curious about that too. And I think that's kind of why I don't really want to speak for Nick, but personally, that's kind of why I thought that maybe Brenner had more of a play in as the big bad of the show. Because even though one says that he's just basically a worthless human who seeks others' power to validate his own or whatever, I thought maybe somehow he had figured something out about the Upside Down and needed to harness 1 and 11 to achieve his goal, but obviously that really wasn't a thing because he just got shot up and nothing played out there. But yeah, what else could he have taught her? That's a great question.
I actually kind of, and I'm not trying to deem him a good guy. I'm glad he's dead and he deserved to die the way he did. But I do kind of think that he was obviously sad the way that there was the slaughter, of kids in the school. He was honestly kind of like a demented Professor X in a weird way, going back to Professor X. But I do think that he wanted to harness her to defeat Vecna and try to get revenge for everything. But
I wonder if, because Vecna, when he killed those people, he absorbed them into himself. I wonder if that was taught, and that's why they had to nerf his power by putting that
they hit him with the Nerf hammer.
What's a what in his neck? Because it was too tempting.
Yeah, he's obviously super powerful. I actually laughed really hard when 11 threw Vecna through the bleachers. He walked out of there. He's like, "What in the hell was that?" He's like, who can do this? But yeah, he does seem like he's obviously a little powerful. And he basically altered an entire reality to his will, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely something I wanted to learn more about. What did you guys think about the hatching of the 4-phased plan and Nancy's step into this leadership role? Basically, telling everyone what the heck needed to be done, rallying the troops.
I love how she always has the biggest gun. It's amazing.
She's like sawing off the barrel of the
Yeah.
shotgun.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, this is amazing. And it was, I mean, it's funny you could say that, Jason taught her that, right? Like he knew, he like, kind of gave her the insight, like, you gotta make sure you're in close range with a gun. It has to be a close range weapon to use it correctly.
I'm pretty sure a sawed-off is
Illegal.
less accurate than a just regular shotgun.
It is less accurate, yeah. But it's all point blank. It'll be pretty accurate, obviously.
Wow.
I'd say. Yeah, I think it kind of brings down to the level of the hammer and spike.
I personally would want as much distance as I could put between myself and Vecna, but that's just me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But he was
going in there
gonna
with
be
the actual,
sleeping.
you go into this with the spike and hammer, I'd be like, all right, we're here. Go ahead.
I carried it. You can do it now.
I'll be right behind you.
Yes. Joe says, I'm so glad Nancy survived. I thought she was a goner.
They
And
gotta
Rachel-
unravel that whole love story. There's
That's
a whole
true.
love triangle now going on between Jonathan and Steve, and Nancy. Because oh no, what's she gonna do?
I mean, the obvious, easiest choice. Definitely Steve. I mean, this shouldn't even be a love triangle.
Have you seen his hair?
Right. Like his head hair and his chest hair. That is one like stellar chest mane he's got going on there. I don't know what you guys thought about that, but I was like, holy crap.
He
was
just
decent.
has the hair of the guy who ends up with the girl.
Hey, it's coming from a lady, so it's hard to refute that. Rachel says casually okay with committing a felony. Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, sawing off the barrel of a shotgun. I thought the same thing. That's probably not going to help your accuracy rating, but it definitely helps your cool rating. It looks awesome. But no, I liked Nancy's evolution into like the de facto leader of the party. It was really cool. Because she knows what's what, and she's not afraid to like roll her sleeves up and grab the hacksaw, as you saw. I thought the plan. I thought the plan itself was actually pretty ingenious too. I mean, in theory, a lot of moving parts, but using
80s horror like Lost Boys and
yeah, exactly.
I have a question about Eddie's decision.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand. Like, okay, so the door wasn't going to hold, right? But he absolutely could have made it back. Was he afraid? Because he said he was buying more time, but I thought he was like thinking, oh, if those bats come through, they're going to go right through that portal into like Hawkins. But then that's not what he said. He's just like, I'm buying more time. They're already in the house. Like,
right.
What are you buying more time for? I didn't really understand that.
I think from their point of view, I don't know how much they knew, like what was unfolding. Right.
That's true. They don't know if they made it in the house yet or not.
Yeah. So
yes.
I think what we're gonna end up doing a lot this episode is filling in the holes with our own theories that try to explain some of these things. I was just like wrapped up in the heat of the episode that I didn't even bother like thinking about that. But now that you say it, that is true. I think the obvious answer would be to save Dustin from the bats going into Hawkins. But I think the better answer is Dustin and Steve had no idea how far the 4-phase plan had progressed. So maybe Eddie was afraid that if he goes back up to Hawkins, then the bats realize, Steve and Nancy and Robin are in the house and they go back to the house or whatever.
The confirmation that they're in the house would be that they just leave, right? Just like they did because of the synapse. It brings them right back. They're all just, one mind. Amy, I caught the same thing when he went back, like when he like was going up to drop back down. I was like, why are you going back? Like fearful for his life. And then I was like, wait, why the hell are you going back? You know,
It
like,
literally seems
yeah.
like because you have to die.
Mhm.
Like, you have to die, and we have to have a reason why you die, because your plan actually worked pretty well, and you held them off, and now you're leaving.
Yeah, I would go. I mean, Mike says that it doesn't make sense. They didn't really know he wanted to make sure that they had as much time as possible. But again, it's the idea if they leave, obviously they're in there. As long as they're not there, it's all that matters. They're not gonna the bats aren't gonna look at each other and be like, wait a minute, we've been had. Let's go back. I do think mission was kind of accomplished as long as they're just flying around there.
Joe is in agreement with Amy. His death accomplished nothing, in my opinion. It accomplished one thing. It made me sad because my favorite character of the season died.
Well, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
We have to somebody has to die. We finished his character arc. Now what are we gonna do with him?
Yeah.
One of the main things that Aiden always talks about is, he died by the bats. His character is a vampire. He's gonna come back as a vampire next season.
Slowly.
I will put that chapstick on, bro. I do quite often. It is the Blistex medicated mint flavor.
Medicated mint?
Yeah.
Was it great. Just level you out? What's it do? What's it do?
It makes my lips not hurt so bad, bro.
You're like,
yeah. I actually just eat it.
Yeah.
No, yeah. While I think this was the strongest season of Stranger Things, I think there are definitely plot holes. This show is not free of head-scratching moments, and I think the reason for Eddie not following Dustin is one of those. Stream sponsorship. Hey, you guys tweet at Blistex and be like, listen, we have just the best sponsorship for you guys.
I can just see boxes of it behind you. Just boxes.
Yeah, it'll be this instead of Funko Pops. It will be boxes of Blistex chapstick.
I know what everyone's getting their stocking this year.
Yeah. Hey, send me. I wear a hoodie. Right. I wear hoodies.
You look at a stocking, you're like, my eyes, birds.
But my lips are so silky smooth. Send me a Blistex hoodie. I'll wear it. Just make sure it's that cool medicated mint.
That'd actually be
green.
cool in like a metal band logo, like Blistex. All the lines going everywhere.
One of the ones where you can't actually read what it says.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna hit my second gripe, and that is Dustin's god awful annoying limp from falling back into the upside down.
He's a very soft kid, okay? He's very soft.
It's like that far of a fall,
right? And you fell all those times. The mattress was like this thick, dude.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It probably would have stabbed you with a spring more so than anything.
Right.
Better off just landing on his back.
Right. And they all landed on their back and didn't have the wind knocked out of them or anything. I mean, if it was a hard enough fall to make you limp, probably would knock the breath out of you.
It's probably it was probably improvised. He probably actually hurt his leg when he came in.
Maybe.
They're like, you know what, keep it. Let's go.
Yes. But no, sometimes the limp was super exaggerated and crazy. Other times he wasn't even walking with a limp. And it was just okay. How many days after that whole situation were they was it when they were helping at the school and he's still limping like he's walking on 1.5 legs? I'm just come
Mike,
on, dude. Come on.
A sprained ankle, it's just never the same. It's just never the same.
It's swollen. You have to take care of it or it gets worse.
That's right. Put it up. Poor Mike selling his chest for ad space. What about Hopper's limp after he practically breaks his ankle?
Yes!
What limp? What are you talking about? The limp that magically the opened sores from breaking your ankle and then rubbing metal.
That's right.
and running through the Russian tundra with no shoes for who knows how long.
Yeah, my feet are cold just thinking about it.
Yeah, dude's gotta have frostbite.
I will, and I don't want to dive too deep into the realism here, but he's a pretty malnourished guy. He doesn't really have the nutrition in his body to actually heal that quick. It's like it would just go from bad to worse, obviously.
And it's
You're all-
cold.
He did stumble on a massive stockpile of peanut butter, though.
I can tell
It's
you he's
true.
going to have one massive infection, though, if they're walking through some shit tunnels.
That's true. That's true.
You better get some antibiotics.
Yeah.
Get some Blistex.
Yeah. Just applying Blistex medicated mint all over his ankle.
Everybody knows bacteria hates medicated mint.
That's right. Someone needs to send Max a tube of that.
Call me bacteria. Just call me bacteria. No, I bet Hopper actually filled his socks with all the peanut butter, and he like put his foot in. I was like, it heals it.
I don't know what kind of weird stuff you're into,
Instant-
Jordan, but
instant-
I don't know. I don't know if that would be like my first thought.
I just need the mint.
All
to
this
complete
peanut butter. I know what I'm going to do. Quick, give me my socks.
Yeah. I might die, but oh my God, am I going to go out the right way? And this peanut butter will never be used ever again.
But yeah, can we talk about this? Okay, we all really liked
Peanut butter.
this season, right? And these last two episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're going pretty hard on them right now. And I'm going to talk about something else we probably all were annoyed by. But I just want to make it clear, we actually do like this show and these two episodes. But it's something we hardly do on Showboys, which is get into some of the things that annoy us. We usually fanboy about everything.
Star Wars. I'm sorry. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
But like, I felt like Hopper's whole like arc throughout the entire season was pretty lame. Like, I like Hopper. I don't know. It was weird. Felt like it didn't really mean much of anything. I don't know. Like, what did you guys think about the whole Russia?
Oh, I want to go back to what Amy said at the very beginning, how like it goes back to that storyline. You're like, okay, let's move on to that. I always just use this example. It's like when you're a kid and you're watching Return of the Jedi. And I'm talking about Star Wars now. And you're like, oh, this is amazing. You're watching like Wedge fly through space, taking out TIE interceptors and flying through it, and like the Falcons going with Lando in there, and they're like, yeah, medical frigate, this is a trap, and it goes to Endor, and you see the Ewoks beating the shit out of people in full armor, and then it goes to like Luke and the Emperor, and you're like, okay, I'll use the bathroom now, I guess. Like when you're younger, you just don't really care about that scene as much, right? And it's surrounded by a lot of entertainment, and then this brought that back for me a little bit.
I also have a new request. I would like to hear Jordan summarize movies in like 15 seconds. I want that to be like a movie review. You have to tell the plot of a movie in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
That actually would be pretty funny.
We'll try it sometime.
Joe says Civ puts peanut butter in different places, but that's a Patreon episode.
It's
Hands off on that one.
We
somebody
don't kink
subscribes.
Shame. We don't kink shame.
Someone's a premium member.
He also says, I like how Hopper survived the explosion by just getting out of the way. Genius. Yeah, why don't more people like
Move.
think of that? Just get out of the way.
Yeah, and it shows that like she was watching him when it happened. She's like, oh, he's too dumb to get out of the way. He's dead. Let's just start grieving now. But she looked for him, and it's whatever. Here's another thing too with Hopper, and a lot of people talk about this. It's all of a sudden he's like a master swordsman.
Where did that broadsword come from?
Well,
I thought the same thing, but it's that
they threw a bunch
weapons
of medieval
closet.
weapons, archaic weapons out. They threw a bunch of archaic weapons out for all the different prisoners to fight with.
Okay.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. It was kind of a cool scene. I'm sure the Demogorgon was like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
And it's
told you guys to put your swords away.
Yeah.
You're done with them.
Yeah. What's that rusty sword gonna? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
Or like Murray just being like, able to wield a flamethrower.
I
How
thought
far
for
can flamethrowers shoot?
they go pretty far.
Can they?
Yeah, they can go pretty far, especially I guess going at an incline or a declined angle. But the idea that I really thought Murray was going to die through the whole thing. I thought he was going to be like the guy who didn't make it out, and we're going to be sad, and maybe Yuri would survive. You're like, why did he have to live and not? But no one fucking died.
Yeah. This show's like the opposite of Game of Thrones.
The one major death came back.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, like, it was cool to see Hopper's character develop, like from an emotional and mental standpoint, coming to terms with some of the things that have been plaguing him mentally throughout the series. I love the actor who plays Enzo, plays one of my favorite characters, Game of Thrones, and I thought he was great in this show. Murray and Yuri were really funny, so I appreciated that. It just, this whole arc felt so detached from anything meaningful. I mean, we know the Upside Down, Vecna has the hive mind thing, so of course the Demigorgon and the Demi-dogs and all that stuff, they play a role there. But we will have to talk about the strange dust particle stuff that they found in the lab there in the prison. And the little goop tubes of the Upside Down monsters that they were kind of growing in the lab there.
Very Aliens throwback a little bit, the facehuggers and the tubes too.
Yes.
Or Independence Day, I suppose.
So what the heck were these Ruskies up to down there? Like, how'd they come across the means to grow these Upside Down monsters, and what the heck was that dust? You guys have any theories?
I didn't understand. The dust infected the demi-dogs?
Yeah, that's what the guy said as he was dying. Like, it escaped and then, like, inhabited the
creatures? So it brought them back to life?
I think.
Because they look like specimen containers. Like they were studying them.
Yeah.
So I kind of took it actually as the mind flare dust that they kind of encapsulated a little bit of it.
That's what I thought it was.
And that's part of the synapse that goes into the dogs, and then Vecna can control them. So technically all the everyone that's part of the synapse, all the different species have the dust on their brain, and it's part of what Vecna's controlling. And
so they were like extracting that, or and like where? I mean, I guess they have a portal.
I'm guessing
there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's how Hopper got there in the first place. So are they just like luring out these creatures and then capturing them somehow?
It's hard to tell if Russia's going to have any more storyline at all. But I would say the guy who plays Vecna, I mean, I could be. I mean, I might be probably a little more like. No, it's probably less more I think about. But he actually kind of looks like Ukrainian to me, or Russian to me in a weird way. Maybe one was Russian, and then. But yeah, we know his origin. Obviously, he was a little kid and went there, and it's his
right.
It's just something that pops. I have no idea, honestly.
Yeah.
How it could happen. Of course, it would happen in Russia, though, right?
Right. Sib says, I don't think they're growing them. I think they're just testing them. Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, since they have the portal, they're probably like just luring them out and capturing them as they come out one by one.
Yeah. And then Nick says the dust is like from season 1 where the mecha mind flare came from in the sky that Will sees. True. I totally forgot about the mind flare stuff. So thank you guys for bringing that up. So I guess that's not even that big of a mystery then. So really, this whole Russia arc is kind of now pointless.
It didn't really. I didn't understand exactly what they did. Like their theory was like, oh, they're all of a hive mind, so if we kill these, we'll disrupt them. I didn't really. Maybe
I don't even know how they. I don't recall how they even came to that conclusion, but yeah, they were like, if we just inflict as much pain on these creatures while we're here, like the Eddie and Dustin thing. Maybe we can buy the kids and Hawkins more time, even
And
though
I couldn't tell if the bats dropped when they killed the Demogorgon in Russia, or if the bats were dropping because 11 had Vecna up against the pillar.
Because Vecna got kind of stunned and he couldn't control the synapse anymore.
Okay.
Which
or did the bats drop like when? I don't know. I guess it would have had to drop when he was stunned, because how would Steve and Nancy and Robin have gotten free?
Right.
To get the
so I don't really
killing
feel
blow.
like did they do anything in Russia besides clear out a Russian prison for the Russians?
Yeah, they did that. They got some cool patriotic jackets. I don't know if you guys noticed that. That
did.
Of course,
Peanut
Hopper,
butter.
and Will's
Sock peanut
mom
butter.
wearing the amazing red, white, and blue jackets. Some peanut butter.
Enzo was introduced, a really cool character. Obviously.
We got Enzo.
Yeah.
Yuri was hilarious. Like, that character was great, and
It was
Murray
so
and Yuri's
frustrating.
interactions were really funny.
Okay, yeah, that's right. They saved Hopper. All right, that's fair. But still, besides that,
right? No, it's very fair to say that it didn't do a whole lot. But the Russia, especially during that time, they were always like on like the U.S. and Russia were always on each other's like heels doing stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
This fits the whole conspiracy, wheel space race. What happened in Europe during World War II?
Because remember, the whole 11 program was to combat the Russians,
right?
From distance.
And that was, you think about this too in the Cold War. There was a lot of hypnosis tests that went on. Everyone was trying to, how do you get the KGB, agents to talk? How to get the FBI agents to talk? And there was the whole shebang like that. But it's cool to have it, and all that they probably had to do was what happened in season 3, and I would have been like, all right, it's cool, I like that, it's fun.
Yeah.
But now we're in Russia. It's crazy.
Yeah, but hey, they made it home, so we're done with the Russia storyline for now. Joe says it's so crazy that we can tear the season apart, but the show still has such positive reviews, and we all agree that it is good. Exactly. You can like something and think it's good and still talk about the things that didn't sit right with you.
Nothing's perfect.
Yes. Except Mr. Robot. But, Nick says they saved Hopper. Yes. I know. But
then they went back to the prison to do what?
Nothing.
I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe their disruption was how 11 got her handle over on Vecna.
Yeah, true. Honestly, okay, so this is kind of where something I wish would have happened. It would be very somber and dark, but I feel like it would have been just like crazy and made season 5 nuts. Basically, Lucas gets murdered by Jason. Max dies from Vecna. The portal's open. Because 11 can't stop Vecna, Steve, Nancy, and Robin all end up dying there in like right outside of his chambers. Eddie, Dustin, and 11 make it out, and that's who we're left with to go into season 4. Vecna's still at full force, and all the portals are opened up, and the Upside Down is invading. But they didn't do that, and it made me sad. I feel like that would just made things so crazy.
They needed a wow moment of death. They gave it to us, and then they took it away.
Because that would have been very akin to like the snap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
the
was
ginger
amazing.
Snap. That's good.
No, different snap. But I love that in Infinity War, and like my jaw literally dropped, and I was like, "Oh, that is so amazing!" But immediately I was like, "Oh yeah, this is Disney and Marvel. Everyone's going to come back," and then everyone did come back. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wish that would have happened there. But anyways, Do you guys have any other things you want to dig into on episode 8, or you just want to jump to episode 9?
I don't, like I said, I felt like episode 8 was like a just a segue into episode 9 because like what they killed 11 got free or whatever. They hatched their plan.
Yep,
and
we
they
ended.
They decided they had to go back into the prison.
Yep. Yeah, the episode ended with the party like gearing up, making all their their weapons and armor, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, then episode 9 happens, and here is the short summary. To offer long-distance aid to their loved ones in Hawkins, Team Hopper returned to the Russian prison and dispatched the Demigorgons that had escaped from the lab. Hoping to also lend a hand, 11 mind-traveled into Max's head, but was unable to keep Vecna from killing her friend. Thankfully, she did manage to resurrect Max. Through the power of friendship, I added that. As battle raged on, Lucas fought Jason, and Eddie died a hero's death. Steve, Robin, and Nancy seemed to have rendered one done. But with Max's passing, Vecna's final gate opened, ripping Hawkins to shreds and Jason with it. In the aftermath, Hopper was reunited with Elle, Joyce with her family, and Jonathan with Nancy. They were fine, she assured him, but were they? As Will sensed Vecna's presence, he was down, but not out. Otherworldly particles began to turn Hawkins into the upside-down version of itself. Finn. So...
Who'd you say was down but not out?
Vecna.
Will sensed Vecna's presence. He was down but not out. Yes, Vecna was down.
Like, Will's
but
kind
not
of out. He's kind of out.
He's
kind of out.
Kind of. I mean, he is, but like, kind of like not. Yeah.
Still one of my favorite characters. Easily.
I have a question about that that we'll get into. But yes, episode 9, 2.5 hours of just crazy epicness. I loved it. It was very fun. Aside from the stinkers that we've already pointed out, we're not going to talk about that stuff anymore because we're here to have fun. Talk about the reasons we loved this show. Like, where do we go? I mean, because we've kind of already summarized pretty much what happens in both episodes already. What did you think of Mike, like pep talking 11 as she was like trapped by Vecna? Yeah, it was a little cringe. Mike this entire season was super cringe, I feel like.
Mike was really like, I don't know, I feel like we're really pushing his importance in this.
He's the heart, Amy.
He's the heart. Oh my god.
Yeah. Mind you, the worst team member of the Planeteers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he I don't know. It can't be the actor. I enjoyed him in Ghostbusters. I thought he was pretty fun in it. But he was a little bit, I think they are pushing the importance of the character. Because that whole group, what did they just drove around. I mean, they retrieved her and everything.
Yeah.
Which, let me say, I did like the shootout episode in the house.
Oh yeah,
it was the military versus like the agents, and that was really cool. That one dude's definitely the MVP for those kids. Got to do with the stash.
Yeah, that was such a cool.
He took
scene,
out like
to
5
me,
or 6 soldiers.
It like came out of nowhere too. I was not expecting like a shootout in this show.
There's not a whole that really doesn't happen in any other. Or I guess no, not like that. It felt like an action movie in that aspect. So, but I think Mike's character is. I think he'll probably play a better role in the next. I think they all probably will. I think the next season, now that they're all united, it'll feel more like the other seasons. They had to maybe kind of do this to split up the gang, and now they're all together
Never
again.
Split the party.
Yeah, you got to split the party, right? Now the whole gang's back together, looking at this possible apocalyptic situation.
Max isn't looking at anything, but
no.
Oh,
No, she's Not looking at a damn thing.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty meta that like we're talking about them overwriting Mike's importance as like that was what he was struggling with in the entire season.
It is true, isn't it?
So that's kind of funny. But yeah, like where do we go from here? What do you think is going to happen? We have Will. We haven't touched on Will at all. Like very clearly, he has a much larger role to play in the grand scheme of things. What do you guys think that role will be? Is he going to be like 11 tier important? Is he going to develop some sort of powers to coincide with his ability to sense Vecna? Is Vecna going to somehow use his newfound love for Mike to kind of cause strife between, him and the group in 11 and maybe pit Will against the party? Like, I don't know. Have you guys thought about any of this? What are your opinions?
Well, I think that I can see him being used as a pawn. I mean, he obviously loves Mike. They've made that abundantly clear. I wonder if they're going to use that to kind of fracture 11's confidence and kind of alienate her. Because if, she feels like Mike's attention is elsewhere, she doesn't have that like strong group. I think he's going to be used as a pawn because they made so many parallels to him and Vecna throughout the season. Like so much of it between his drawings, like scenes that they put him in are very similar to scenes of the family. He's talking about being different, which is exactly like the monologue that Vecna had with 11. Like, we are different. So I just feel like he's going to, I don't know. I can see him being. They had to do something with him.
Yeah, he could very easily escalate somehow to being the major big bad in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he again. I said this since the first season. He's probably my favorite character through everything. I think his story arc's been really good, and it's. There's always been something super like simple and soft about the kid, right? The whole way through everything. So to have him either sacrifice himself or become something that you never thought he could become, and also ultimately end in death is one of the more tragic things that I think could happen to the entire show, because you felt like the entire show you're trying to protect Will, trying to save Will, trying to do all these things, and that's gone. And one thing about especially horror stuff, everything comes full circle, and everything you thought you knew about the beginning, you knew nothing about, and it really comes back to haunt you, right? And it's a perfect circle to come around in, and whatever love or feelings he has for whoever, that could be kind of like a he's like Mike's holding him off a cliff, and he's like, Mike, I love you. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Something's going to happen pretty crazy with that, though. I will say this, though. Every season, when you get the damn Twitch, you don't just go like this and not tell anyone about it.
Right. We're 4 seasons into this. How many years in Showtime have you been getting these goosebumps? Can you please tell somebody?
Something bad's probably going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like something bad's probably. It's not like that was weird.
Yeah.
Now you got to go. Oh God, not again. Exactly. Even the second time. It's that's probably the worst thing about the character is there's no like tell somebody you're going through these issues. Damn it.
Right.
Well,
that's his brother was reaching out to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm interested though in Amy's thought that Will's like self-realization and maybe that somehow gets declared to Mike or something, causing something to happen to 11. Um, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way. I've been thinking that, you know, it's eventually going to eat away at Will enough. Like maybe he just can't tell Mike, or maybe he does tell Mike, and it like makes things super weird between them. And then Vecna, already having that connection, is able to like break Will and like have him, you know, be Vecna's new hand or whatever.
Well, it was like
Yeah.
Mike's like love.
Will's face is just it's just in the middle of the giant ass hand.
Mike's love was what saved 11. Like that's what gave her like the power to overpower Vecna.
Yeah.
I will say this though. I know we keep talking about it, but I don't think Will's in love with Mike. I think he just wants to tell him, like, and he wants like his best friend to know it. And then it kind of came out with his brother a little bit, but I think.
But
Look, trust me.
I get so excited.
It's very possible. Don't get. I'm just saying it might not be what you know. It may not be directly at him.
His whole montage when they were in the van and he was saying like, no, blah blah blah, 11 this, blah blah blah, she needs you, like, but he's talking about himself.
I just took out 11 and put Will.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got Mike drawn with the heart of the ocean on his neck. He's like, that's the wrong picture. I'm sorry. What if you had to rate it though, from 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
Well, Mike, you swiping right or what? Oh my god, yes, that's hilarious. But yeah, it was really cool seeing all the different pictures and stuff floating around online, showing the similarities between Vecna and Will when they were kids and stuff, and how like even like Amy was saying, certain scenes like they're in the same position with their families, or like at school, like when Mike and 11 are walking, like he's behind, and when Vecna's walking with his family, like he's in the same position behind them or something. It was really cool to see all those floating around, and I threw those in our Discord if you're interested in seeing those. But I'm interested to see what happens with Will in season 5. We've kind of talked about how 11 can raise the dead and now has the power of resurrection, but I want to talk more about the time thing that you mentioned, Amy, because I must have glanced over that, which I've been watching a lot of stuff lately, so it's very, very possible that I missed some details. But can you elaborate on this time theory?
Oh, I mean, it's okay. I just remember in the beginning, I think it was the end of part 1, when Vecna was talking to 11 about his life, or whenever he was telling his like story. Maybe the dad. No, it was Vecna. It was him. He was talking about how he was discovering his powers and like being BFFs with a bunch of like spiders. And he like
not creepy at all.
There's a scene where he's staring at that clock. And the hands are winding backwards, and so I don't know if that was like, I had started rewatching this season because I enjoyed it so much, and then I just jumped up to the last 2 episodes for today, so I hadn't really gotten back to that, but I know that there was a scene where the clock was like rewinding backwards. So I don't know, like, if maybe he changed something, or
I wonder if that represents the upside down for reverse.
Maybe because it sounds like it had always existed. Nobody had just been in it.
And this actually kind of makes me think about something. What if Max is somewhere else completely now, not in the normal world or the upside down?
Yeah. Well, plus, like,
or anywhere.
Yeah, she definitely just got sent to the Shadow Realm. That's for sure. But we also have, the grandfather clock chimes and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot
The
to do
real
with
big
time
bad.
there. Yeah.
The Great Blood.
Arms are just gonna come out of it.
Everyone was saying that it was like what the four horsemen, the four
Yeah.
doors were supposed to be like the four horsemen.
It's very true. Joe says it's really weird that you said becoming Vecna's hand because in D&D Vecna was destroyed and the only parts remaining are his hand and eye. Now you have me thinking that Will could be his hand and Max could be his eye. Very interesting.
Funny you should say that. I have this. It's
Oh.
Vecna.
Well, we're gonna do this.
She's hot.
Oh snap!
There's his hand in his eye. This is from 3rd edition because we couldn't find him in 5th edition. But it's Vecna.
Nice. Look at that.
Because I still have a theory that D&D's Vecna could wipe the floor with Stranger Things Vecna. I also found this. It's the Demogorgon.
Demogorgon, yeah. In all
Nice.
fairness,
I don't see a flower.
Yeah, no
It's true.
kidding.
that's definitely not what I see.
Definitely does not look like this at all. That's for sure. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's Vecna's probably like, listen, I didn't name myself Vecna. I didn't do it, okay? It's just
That's
something
your
that they
word,
gave
not
to me. Yeah,
mine.
exactly. They gave it to me. I'm not talking trash about anything.
Yeah. Good theories there, Joe. Good theories. You'll have to elaborate on the Will hand and Max eye comment. Interested to dig deeper into that. But yeah, so how would was there anything in the scene where 11 was executing her power of friendship to bring Max back from the dead that led
Probably
you?
a couple of My Little Pony fans subscribing like right now. Friendship is magic.
Yes. But was there anything in that scene that hinted at a reversal of time?
Nothing that I really saw. Because she just said like no.
Just like Hopper moving out of the way of the explosion. Why don't people just like refuse to die or let people they love die? I mean, come on.
Yeah, she just said no. And but I mean that was kind of it. You didn't even really see her come back. The only reason that you knew she came back was because they went to the hospital and saw, her helicasted.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope they explain a little more that new power that 11 has, but I'm not particularly a fan of her miraculously being able to raise the dead. But we know Vecna is still alive. And we've kind of already like hinted at this, but like, what does that mean for Max? Are they now like eternally tied together because of the like partial mind suckage and snapping, or like?
I think Max is part of his consciousness.
Well, they're gonna always remember each other. That's for sure. I can guarantee that. Yeah, it's hard to know. But it's gonna be a. My mind is really, what's the time jump gonna bring, and what's it gonna, is it gonna be like a Walking Dead scenario within Hawkins? Is it gonna be like the military versus like hordes of demidogs? Like there's a lot of cool things that could pop up with this next season. I don't know. I just I think that'll be probably one of the things that kind of build up the whole way to it, just the Max and Will. But there needs to be some death soon.
Every season keeps building on like more from the previous seasons. Like there's like the Demodogs, there's Demogorgon, they figure out the hive mind, the shadow creature,
yes, you're right.
Vecna. So like, how's that all gonna go together?
Right. And there has to be one more one up, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys think Vecna is not like the big bad of the Upside Down, and he's just like Dustin had said, like, the Mind Flayer was just a general of Vecna? Is Vecna like just a high-ranking, monster in the Upside Down, or is he kind of
I would say that
the guy?
I mean, just from what we know, I would say that the Mind Flayer is Vecna, just kind of creating the imagined spider in his head and bringing that to life in the real world. And he saw that, and that was the first thing he started manipulating out there, and he made it his own. And then he's like, if I could do that with this cloud, this questionable cloud, what else can I make? And he literally just replicates everything from 1983, which apparently has some skill and power to do so. But yeah.
All right. So how do we think he uses Max, or do we think he does not use Max at all?
I don't think he's going to use Max. I think Max is going to help 11 save the day.
Right. Yeah, you did mention that. That would be cool to have another person tied to Vecna, much like Will. As like a little warning sign for the team.
Because I don't think she's coming back. I don't think she's coming back.
Right.
And it's going to be hard to come back from that. So now that the Upside Down is
right side up.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Now it's right side up.
I like that.
What the heck is going to happen? Like, are we going to get like you said, Jordan, just an invasion of creatures? Yeah. Like, what do you guys think we're going to see?
Isn't that what what's her name? Not Robin.
Nancy?
Nancy, thank you. Isn't that what Nancy said? She saw like a bunch of dead soldiers in the street.
Oh, that's right, she did.
Yeah, that was part of his little like vision that he bestowed upon her.
That's good. I want to see this war. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, just 11 flying in, like pushing everyone till they explode or something. It's going to be cool. I wonder if they'll actually show that, or if, like Jordan's been saying, we're going to get like a time jump of some sort, and we just get to season 5 and Hawkins has already fallen, and it's just like the team trying to pick up the pieces. Or
Hopper's fat again.
He snuck a few jars of peanut butter back in that big jacket.
I just remembered there has to be something to do with Will, because the Upside Down was frozen that on the day that Will vanished.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, I was stuck in that. Was it 83?
I think it was. Yeah, because it's stuck. So why that day?
These are all great questions. I hope they get answered.
Too bad we have to wait forever.
I know, and the memes I've been seeing about like what the cast is going to look like in season 5 have been hysterical. They're all like 40 years older. Because I guess that's the hard part of working with young children. They seem to grow like weeds. So if you don't film
like
these things in a timely fashion,
stop eating chicken. Stop giving yourself nourishment.
But yeah, I guess lastly here, who do you think is going to die in season 5? Because they've said there are going to be multiple deaths.
I think Jonathan's gonna die.
That could happen, and it clicks Will out of whatever he's going through, right?
And it will free up Nancy to be with
Steven.
Yeah.
That would be an easy way to resolve that love triangle mess.
Like, well, how you doing?
Hey, there's no other option now.
Yeah. Well, the whole last conversation of Nancy that Nancy and Jonathan had was also like ended on a question mark too.
Well, they were talking about like slow motion. I think they call it a slow motion breakup, because I think Nancy and Jonathan are just growing apart anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they both know it, right?
Yeah.
I think they both know it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And continued to lie about his college application. So that's going to end one way or another. I don't think we can predict anyone predicting Max dies. That's like so so cheap. Like, come
I think
on.
Max is. I think
Dead,
she's
kind of
already
dead.
dead.
That
shouldn't count. That shouldn't count.
Joe says Sean Bean. He's going to be cast in season 5, and then immediately die.
He's going to be Max next season through the aging process, the time jump.
What a typecast to be cast as.
Yeah,
the guy
a living red shirt. A living red shirt.
Yeah.
Or he'll steal somebody's ring. Try to steal somebody's ring.
Let's see. Do we think 11 will die?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
I don't know, because if Vecna and 11 dies, then there's no trace of that project left whatsoever.
Just like today. Like, I don't know, maybe just it doesn't exist anymore. That's why we don't have 11s flying around out there.
Like it happened. I don't know. I'm on the train that everyone should die. So I feel like super cynical. I like everybody, but I think they should all die.
Yeah.
Until Predator is my favorite movie. All my favorite characters die. I think maybe there should be kind of be like an end game where maybe even they're all connected. They realize maybe they're connected to Vecna and they have to die with Vecna or something like that. I feel like there can't be any superpowers left at the end of this, and the government has a chance to bury it and make sure no one ever knew about it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of logical sense. But I liked your earlier point though about something happening with Will. Where what did you say? Maybe he like sacrifices himself, or
I think
in some way that would be really powerful.
You usually, when it's a horror movie or whatever, there's something that brings you back to the beginning that you thought you knew everything about, but you know nothing about it. That's kind of like what Randy says in Scream, to be honest with you. But it's really it comes full force back to you, and everything you thought you knew you don't know, and it's worse than you ever imagined, and it could also be a quick redemption for him too. Generally, there's a redemption plot like a Vader, but it's any way you look at it, I think he needs to die, because that's something when you can watch season 1, you're like, he's so cute. They tried so hard to save him, and what happens in the end, right?
Yeah.
Everything that they go through, he just ends up dead.
Everybody else died in the Upside Down, but him. He somehow managed to survive, even though he was just a little child. Like there's some
true.
kinship.
Yeah.
Between
it's
him and the Upside Down.
And I think it would make it sweet if he realized his connection and sacrificed himself for the greater good, right? Instead of just like the party failing to save him, he in turn dies saving the party.
Oh yeah, why did the Demogorgon? Yeah, why did it kidnap him?
Yeah,
it should
instead of just eat him,
destroy him. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
And it pursued him. It pursued him too.
Yeah,
which could have been Vecna sending him out and controlling him to capture him, bring him to him, and
because Will and Vecna have not interacted.
No,
they've not ever been in the same situation, I guess.
Yeah, not directly, that's for sure. Joe says, I think Steve is just destined to die. He never catches a break.
Honestly, I really thought with everybody. I thought Steve was going to be like the death of the season. I actually think he's safer now that Eddie's dead, though. I think that was written for
couldn't
Steve.
coexist.
Yeah. I thought that was written for Steve, maybe, but then they gave it to Eddie as a character. They're like, oh, you know what, this character's great. Everyone's going to love him. Let's give him this death.
Yeah,
and they could also obviously be like, well, we'll do something later for Steve. But
poor Steve.
Yeah,
I would be very sad to see Robin die.
That would make me sad too. I think it would be a cruel, sick joke if Steve does end up with Nancy and then dies.
Oh yeah,
It's just like
yeah. Maybe like
he catches his break, but then he catches Vecna's hand or something.
Yeah, yeah. Or Will's face. Like, hello. It was like the hamburger helper thing, but it's it's fucking Will. Yeah.
Oh jeez.
I'm really, it's. I think Steve's dream is probably gonna become reality. He'll be with Nancy, like in some flash forward scene with kids and
Has
going
like
camping.
17 kids and
Yeah. I mean, that's 17. Yeah.
Although he could have signed his own damn death certificate when he talked about a future with Nancy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never pans out well.
Right. I think the only person that's safe is Dustin. You know? Truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel says, I can't face thinking about 11 dying. Yeah, I mean, it would be rough. She's like the main driving force. But I think I've just been watching too much Game of Thrones. Like every character that I feel like is the main driving force and that I fall in love with just dies. So I just feel like everyone needs to die. I don't know. Game of Thrones has just ruined me. That's the end of the story.
Still pissed off at how the Hound died. But yeah. Oh crap! Sorry if someone's watched this.
Wow! Spoiler alert! No, I'm just kidding.
The dogs, all the dogs. That's what I'm talking about. The dogs, the canines, the hounds.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But yes, man, I don't know. They promised quite a few deaths in season 5. I just hope that they're meaningful in both a sense of like being shocking and being important characters, but also like the deaths themselves being meaningful, unlike how we kind of dissected Eddie's death as being rather meaningless and kind of pointless to the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see how this wraps up. We reported in the newscast that the Duffer Brothers have started Upside Down Studios with Netflix, and one of their projects they have planned is in a Stranger Things spinoff. I don't know if many details are known about the spinoff yet, but I'm interested to see what happens with that. Maybe that's where these, the character that 11 met in Chicago comes into play. Maybe they tell that story. I don't know. Biosiv says, fan theory, Steve is John Ralphio's father.
Oh my God, I love John Ralphio.
I mean,
I love him so much.
Didn't they do like a commercial together after the comparisons started coming out? But yes, great character.
I have seen them in something, yes. Together.
I'm totally down with this fan theory.
John Ralphio is that actor is really good at improv.
Yes.
The guy who plays John Ralphio in Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah,
He's really good at improv.
Rachel, yes, they did. You'll have to let me know what it is because I can't remember, but it was great. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see how this wraps up. I'm excited to see what the spinoff is going to be about. Yeah, you guys have any final thoughts here? Anything else you want to get into that we missed?
Yes. I want to just talk about the horror movie Easter eggs.
Yes.
Because there were a few. Obviously, Mike Myers. Or I guess let's just say Halloween at the very end. When they come outside and he's not there anymore. And I felt like there was a little bit of a throw to Carrie when she was at the when Max was trying to find her happy place, so to speak.
Yeah, memory travel, and she shows up at the dance.
Yeah, and then those balloons popped with blood. It felt very Carrie to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys notice any other ones?
Well, like that Michael Myers mask, though, that Eddie wore, throwback to like season 2, Max dressing up as Mike Myers. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when he was like looking around, going, yeah,
yeah.
There was
super stealth mode activated.
Yeah, right. I couldn't remember, what it actually reminded me of, but their actual gear though, like the military gear was very the Lost Boys for me. If you guys ever, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like the beret, the army berets and the camo, and it just that for some reason it just spun out to me. I was trying to remember if it was like the one Chucky movie where like the kids who are playing paintball like or in the gear and fight them, but I'm pretty sure it was the Lost Boys. I think that was especially because they were gonna kill the vampire, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh, I heard. Did anybody else hear rumors about Eddie coming back as a vampire?
Yeah, I was saying that earlier. I was like, we were talking. I don't know if I got caught if it came through or not. But it was Eden was talking about that because his character was a vampire in D&D, and I think it was a vampire anyway. But he was killed by the bats, and he comes back in some super powered manner.
There.
Yeah,
that would be awesome because I like Joseph Quinn. Shout out Joseph Quinn. You should come on the show. I'd love to talk to you sometime. Because you'll totally be listening to this. But yeah, what a punch in the gut if he comes back as a baddie. That would suck.
Yeah, again, let people die. Damn it. Right. I guess he's still undead, but so is Max probably.
Were there any others, Amy?
Those are the only ones that really stood out to me that I can think of so far.
I missed the Michael Myers one. I'm surprised I missed that.
Yeah, it was just the very end when Vecna got blown out the window, just like Mike Myers got shot off the porch.
They run out and he's no longer there. Where'd he go?
Oh yeah. Joe has one.
Like when there are no guards at the jail and Murray says, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. It's very aliens-ish.
Yeah.
You always say that, Frost. You always say you got a bad feeling about this. I'm saying, man, I got a bad feeling about this.
Rachel came through. I looked it up. It's a Visa commercial advertising the identity protection Visa provides. And then she says, I'm not a plan for Visa. Can confirm.
Gosh, there was something I wanted to say, and now I can't remember what it was.
I'm glad you brought up the Lost Boys point, though, Jordan, because I know, man, something in my soul is like, why does this look so familiar? I loved Lost Boys when I was younger. It was such a rad movie. But yeah, you're right. When Dustin's got the bandana on, and they kind of got like the faux ghillie suit and stuff. Just like, man, good catch.
I'm gonna rewatch that soon, actually. Let's do a Halloween episode. That'll be fun.
What was it?
I think I made quick aside. I think I made Nick watch that last October for our little Halloween movie recommendations.
I liked how you guys did that, by the way.
Yeah, that's going to be coming back.
Yeah.
Joe also says the sword Hopper used is from Conan the Barbarian.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I heard that.
Yeah, two-handed broadsword.
Very rad. He did wield that like a pro, we'll say. Very odd for being a sheriff in Hawkins. Maybe he was a LARPer in his free time. I don't know. But yeah, man. Great final 2 episodes. Strongest season of the series, I think, by far.
Most enjoyable.
I still like season 2.
I'm excited to now go back and rewatch the first 3 seasons, knowing that Vecna's been in control like this whole time, and see if I can spot him in scenes. And like, I'm sure just like Mr. Robot did for me when I finished that show, going back and rewatching, like every episode felt different, meant something different to me. And it was just a really cool thing to re-experience, knowing what at the end of the show. This one's not over yet, but I think the big reveal of Vecna kind of being in control the whole time is enough to warrant a rewatch. Plus, we gotta wait till 2024. There's no way I'm gonna remember any of this crap by then.
Right.
I'll probably rewatch it now for fun, and then have to rewatch it again
to catch up.
Yeah.
That always happens to me when I read books. If I'm actually reading a book as they're coming out, there's so much time in between when a book comes out and when the next one comes out in a series that I always have to like reread them.
Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah, it'll be the time jump makes sense too, because they're like, you know what, we can't kill them as kids, we can just kill them as young adults. It's easier to do it.
They killed
those
that
other kids.
that
those other
asshole.
They killed kids the entire season.
Basketball
What are you
player.
talking about?
The main kids. They're
No.
like, we can't do it while they're
the only kids that mattered.
Right.
right. Yeah,
The
poor
chosen
Chrissy.
few.
But yeah, if you guys don't have anything else, we'll go ahead and wrap up here so we don't ramble on too much longer.
I knew I had something, but
Listen, I'm gonna pop this in there. I will say one like whoa moment of this whole thing, like Joey from Purple Blossom, whoa, is Chrissy's death at the end of the first episode. You're like, yeah. You know,
I
like,
couldn't believe that.
That was brutal.
right.
I couldn't believe that they showed
was a step
Vecna
up.
that early.
That too.
Either.
That too. But it was the death itself was just a step up. Like they're like, we're not gonna F around the season.
No,
and
no.
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
it may feel like it, but no one's gonna die. But yeah.
Right. Well, and you already kind of got that feeling in the opening sequence of the first episode. Just the massacre of all the kids, which
That's
by the
right.
way, shout out to the the decency warning there, like, oh hey guys, I know we just are hot off the back of a school shooting, but we filmed this over like a year ago, so sorry.
Don't sue.
But yeah, between that opening scene and then the way the first episode ended with Chrissy doing her best broken neck lady impression there on the trailer roof, that was brutal.
Yeah, that was really cool.
But yeah, I mean, Amy, why don't you like plug your stream real quick before we go? As a
sure.
proud member of the stream team, tell people where they can find you.
I have been streaming over on Twitch mostly lately. I've been playing some Elden Ring. I'm really close to the end. I know I'm like way behind everybody else who's been playing the game, but I plan on going back to some like series soon on my YouTube channel, which is everything's Peaceloveames. My Twitter, my Instagram, my YouTube channel, and my Twitch. So you should come watch.
Her Twitch page is a featured streamer on the Showboys Twitch page, and you can also find her YouTube page as a featured channel down at the bottom on our YouTube page as well if you need help finding that. And shout out Young Neil, always being there. Love Young Neil and our Young Neil sightings. What a rad dude. And
it's
lastly, yeah. It would be really weird if one of Neil's hands was like 10 times the size of his other hand. I'd have some serious questions.
I'm going to hold up my hand, and then you hold up your hand, and it'll look like we hold up the other hand. Oh my gosh!
That's funny.
Damn it!
Just
never mind.
Before we have Jordan plug all of his stuff, is that a Pokeball lamp hanging from your ceiling?
It is
in the
a
back?
Pokeball lamp.
That is so cool. I've been wanting to ask you that this entire time, but
I also wore my little. I know he wasn't. I didn't see a cameo, but I wore my little Jason necklace.
Oh, nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's honestly, I thought of the heart of the ocean. When the Joker, when I saw that. Yeah,
no, it's a mask. It's a Jason mask.
Definitely.
That's so cool. Joe says, Peaceloveames is the best of us. Well, if that means she's the best, then we have to have a worse. And sorry, Jordan, but
I'll volunteer.
Damn.
No, Jordan, you've been working on something, right? I mean, you haven't been on the show in forever. Tell the people.
Yeah. We I was for many months. I was working on the biometric financial project. It's launched. It's BioFi as a ticker, crypto token, and it's a whole ecosystem you can have fun with. Lots of utility, lots of fun, and it's been a wild ride. And I still on my Twitter. I just talk crypto. I talk comic books. I talk lots of things. You can find me at OHJordo, so OJordo, and that's really about it. There'll be some more projects coming up in the future, but as I told Mike and everybody, I'm planning on being around a whole lot more, trying to do more things that are not so time consuming, and I gotta release my mind a little bit and have some fun again for a while. So de-stress.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, well, hey, you guys are both welcome back whenever you want. You know that. It was a pleasure getting to talk about Stranger Things with you guys. Go check them out, support them. And thanks for hanging out. Make sure you subscribe. Check out our Patreon. We have a website, showboysmedia.com. Go check it out. Until then, we will see you next week for season 6 of Game of Thrones. And you can catch me randomly streaming video games over on Twitch throughout the week. Enjoy the Stranger Things outro, and we'll see you around. Have a good one. So,
I just realized that. I'm sorry.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. When you were like, "We'll see you next week for season," I thought you were like 5 of Stranger Things. I'm like, "Oh my god, it was a time jump." Go ahead.
I just realized we didn't talk about what's his name?
What's his name?
The pizza guy.
Oh, Argyle.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Argyle at all.
Love Argyle. I didn't talk about our Answer the Boys topic, so this is going to be
You didn't give
the
away
longest
anything either.
end of episode Easter egg ever. So I'm just going to read it, and we're not going to react to it. And then you guys can, I'm going to put some stuff in the Discord about how to win these Funko Pops. So I'm going to give them away. I'll put that in the Discord. But we did have one Answer the Boys. It was from Joe. He said, I mean, sure, if the show boys would like to know what I thought about Stranger Things Season 4, I'll be more than happy to share. This was probably one of my favorite seasons, but I would have done this completely differently. Rather than have everyone fighting this battle from all of those different locations, I would have introduced the concept of the Upside Down not also being able to travel through time, but also be able to travel through locations, which would put the group together for the final battle. I would have had 11 getting her butt kicked, only to see Vecna go flying through the air. The camera turns, and you see Will with his hand outstretched and blood running from his nose. Or it would have also been nice to see Callie, 11's sister from season 2. Shout out! Look at that.
There it is.
Come in to make the save. Also weird that she was not in any of the flashbacks. She must have escaped before then. Perhaps we'll see her return for season 5. I sure would hope so. I also don't like how weird everything was spaced out. It seems like Eddie could have just played the guitar from inside the trailer and have put the speakers on the roof. Although the visual would not have been as good, just makes sense. Rip Eddie. His death made no sense. He died valiantly to save no one, as those bats didn't even need to be stopped. Also, I feel like Hopper's leg healed very quickly. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but I expected more continuity, perhaps. Telling you, it was just peanut butter.
You just had a better show than we put on the entire time.
Exactly. Good job, Joe. And he also says, worst ending ever. All right. See you guys.
We did, guys.